Hello, everybody, and welcome to Poetry in Brief presents Three Women, Three Books. This is a limited series, and I've invited two other people who identify as women to join me for this inaugural of this little limited series, Cierra G. Rowe and Nina Nicole Garner. Welcome. So we're going to start by just talking a little bit about our books, how to get them, and the process of writing them. And the order will always be Sierra, Nina, and then I'll talk. So Sierra, that means you're first. Tell us about The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife. You're muted, Sierra. You're muted.
Thank you. First, I want to just firstly thank you and Nina both. I'm not accustomed to this sort of camaraderie, and so this hits me right here, and it means a great deal to me to be here. Um, so where to begin? Um, when I first started writing, I never anticipated that the pages would add up to a book. I never thought that that was even a possibility, not even remotely. Um, I was writing to survive. I was trying to I think that I was trying to escape modernity and society. I just felt like I was kind of pushed to the edges of things, and that was my way of navigating this existence. Uh, poetry Poetry is a kind of narration of consciousness, and it proves that being a human is more than just the pain and the frustration. It's profound to exist. And it's even more amazing to be able to take that existence and draw from your past and your dreams and your hopes and what you long and yearn for and turn that into a poem. Um, as a painter, I've always felt that poetry and painting, it's old lovers. They're ancient lovers. One feeds the other. It's all about climbing up from that dark place and following that feeling, that urge to create something and to go beyond that. Um, so I started writing when I was about 15 seriously. And I think a huge part of me had this very repressed longing. I was a very lonely teenager. And when you're lonely when you're a teenager, you feel truly alone. You're growing up and you see the world passing you by and you don't have a place. And so you try to dig deep in your mind and try to figure out how do you navigate this pressure in this vast world. And I started writing. Poetry, I think, in a lot of ways, even though my earlier work is very dark, it saved me definitely because I was writing poetry before I was painting. Um, Many of my poems, especially in this book, uh, carry a kind of longing within them. And I think that harkens back to the fact that I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm a hopeless romantic navigating a divorce on Valentine's Day, but I'm still a hopeless romantic. Um, this yearning and aching that I've always felt since I was a very young girl, since I was old enough to understand what a fairy tale was, I think that's the basis of many of my poems. Uh, Being alone so often, the solitude, it kind of pushed me to unleash because I knew that I wasn't going to be accepted. So I thought, well, what's the harm in writing? What's the harm in speaking? Um, when you're alone, you have to do these kinds of things. Otherwise, the loneliness turns into a beast and it completely devours you. I felt compelled to write, so I kept writing. Um, I I think that the real you comes through in poetry, and it can be very vulnerable when you sit and you pour your heart out, your soul out, and you write without filter, and you write without considering the consequences. I think that's it's very vulnerable to do that. And within this book, um, I would say that all of my poems they're all from a very, very deep place. I have a lot of poems from my teenage years, and they're very, very dark. I look back at them and I shudder. It frightens me how it frightens me not that I was able to express such darkness, but that I felt compelled to, that I was so numb and empty and hurting that I wrote those things because it's as you grow up as a woman, um, you go through phases. It kind of feels like you're a hitchhiker walking through all these phases. For me, growing into a woman was very difficult. I just couldn't seem to get it down to a science. So I was a very I guess I was a very strange teenage girl, and I guess I grew into a very strange woman. But the poems in The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife are in four sections. So the first section is birth, darkness is the second, enlightenment, and then key to my heart. And key to my heart, those are all of my love poems because I can't seem to stop writing love poems. It's my favorite kind of poetry to write, actually, um, because it's one thing to know the idea of love, but to know love, what it should be, and to understand that and the miracle of it, the blessing of it, I think that enriches my love poems. My poems about birth are more of like a synonym for metamorphosis, for beginning somewhere and growing. And then darkness, those are all of my very dark poems, very, very dark poems. Enlightenment is coming out of that darkness. And key to my heart is, yeah, my love poem. So it's kind of almost like a story. So you have the beginning, middle, and then a new beginning, because I don't like the idea of, ends and things. So I don't know that I can sum up the book in a sentence, but if I were to try, I would say, um, imagine someone around you who doesn't speak very much, who doesn't talk, and you've convinced yourself that they can't talk because they never talk. And it's been years and years, and you've just kind of grown accustomed to this person, this human being with a heart, a beating heart and a soul, being a statue, just being there, kind of in the background. And then one day, the statue starts talking, and you realize, my goodness, it's a human being who has so much to say and who has felt so deeply over the years, and who has finally gotten things together and finally decided that she's ready to talk. So that is what The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife is. It's it is me pouring my heart and soul literally into this book. The title is from my grandmother. Everybody's been very curious about the title. I think people assume that this is like it's kind of a demon on my chest or something. It's actually a dragon. I'm not into dark sided stuff. It's not The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife is not a book of darkness or anything. My grandmother was very eccentric. I come from a long line of spiritual and eccentric women. My mom would probably deny being eccentric. Nope, she's a weirdo too. Um, and one day I was with my grandmother. I was a little girl, and I was up at her house, and this sunset was in the sky, and it was so beautiful. It was like a very beautiful deep orange and pink. It's almost it would almost make you think of Armageddon, but it wasn't. It was just so much fire it felt in the sky. And I remember her just nonchalantly saying, "The devil's baking a cake for his wife." And as a little girl, I didn't know what she meant, but also because she was my grandmother, I kind of knew. I don't know. I felt like we had this unspoken language. A lot of people say that I'm just like her. So that is what the title is. It is a sunset. It's a beautiful sunset, and and I came up with that title after she passed away. So yeah,
Thank you, Sierra, for telling us about your book writing journey. I did not know that about the title. That's very interesting. What
thank
is
you.
your drop date if you have one settled, and where can we get your book?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak as well. I could hug you through the screen. I'm giving you a huge hug through the screen. Thank you. Um, it should be released in late February. I'm thinking February 28th to mid-March.
And where is it going to be?
It'll be available on Blurb, and then I'll also have copies as well. So if someone wants to, come to me and order one from me, yeah,
Artofsierra.com, right?
that's correct.
Okay, great. Okay, Nina, tell us about the composition of Returns, which is a follow-up to Let Want Be Hunger. So maybe talk to us about both.
Yes, that is my plan. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. They are both available in a Valentine's Day deal for 48 hours, $11 for both on Crying Heart Press's site. So my first book right here took me almost 11 years to finally get the courage to publish. Yes, that's the one. And it took that long. It includes poems that span 11 years. And I'd kind of gotten away from writing, kind of started looking at it more like a childhood dream that just I needed to outgrow. And then I lost my father, and I was diagnosed with an uncurable chronic illness in a very short amount of time that he had also struggled from. And I returned to writing and put this together. That's actually what the title is from, because it's a gastric issue. Um, and this kept me sane while I got through some of the worst of it. And so this is me. I mean, this is me from 24 to 35. And if that's the case, I mean, you go through a lot of changes as a woman through that time period. So it's not all me now, it's an evolution of a woman. I mean, because we all know your 20s you're crazy. It's just, you just are. And I'm very proud of this follow-up chapbook because this was all written this year. I don't have my author's copies yet, but I have my manuscript. I'm incredibly proud of this. This is all who I am now. And the title composition of Returns, I was actually originally going to title it Everything Was Fine Until Mississippi, because in our family, everything goes wrong in Mississippi. um, but yeah. In fact, I have a great great grandfather that my Nana loves to tell me, used to say, the only good thing that came out of Mississippi was your bumper on the way out. Um, but this is a return to things that I wrote about in the first one, or memories of the past, but from a new perspective. Because there's some of them where maybe I wrote about a situation and it's intense, it's full of longing, but this book interrogates the question of what happens when you realize that longing cannot be fulfilled. What do you do with it? It does not resolve itself. My goal was to have 0 resolutions in this because not everything resolves itself. This is what returns are made of. And so it's very, I think in the first one, I mean, I love poetic form. I experimented. I did a lot of old Irish and Welsh forms and mythology and such. And I kind of took a lot of that out of this. This one is more vulnerable in a way. The first one was pretty vulnerable, but this one is much more vulnerable because it's so easy to hide behind anger or blame or things like that, or intensity and metaphor. It's harder to look back on a good memory that is gone and just say what it is. Just let it be. So, yes, that's the composition of Returns. Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nina, for sharing. And I will show how to get your book in the next part. We're going to go to some readings now. So we'll start with, oh, wait, my book. I forgot. Okay, my book is called Women Making Soup Together. It's my debut chapbook. It's 21 poems, so it's pretty short. It's a collection basically about women reclaiming things, and I didn't really even realize that until I started writing like what it was going to be. And it's about women kind of reclaiming the idea of like a kitchen and a home and saying, yes, that's part of the female identity, but so are all of these other things. And also reclaiming words too. I have a poem that I shan't be able to read called Rape that talks about how we really need to be talking about out loud things that happen to women and reclaiming our stories and telling them and standing together and advocating for each other, and that our fight is nowhere near complete, that we do not have equity, and to all of us, keep stirring the pot because that's what we have to do. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody that's on. We're going to go into our readings. So I would like to present Cierra G. Rowe, a reading from her book, This Is Your Debut collection, and The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife. And Sierra is a visual artist and a poet, and you can see that really coming together in her work, especially if you look at her artwork next to her writing, you can see that they definitely go together. There's a deepness and a darkness there that I just really love. You can also watch her read on a recording on YouTube on my Turney Talks channel from one of my poetry and brief sessions, Thorns, You Broke My Heart. And I now present to you Sierra, reading from her debut collection.
Thank you. I'm going to start out by reading Hallucination. Okay. In the hour of blue, when the clock strikes 12 and the children lay sleeping, outside stand trees, taller than me, swaying and weeping. In the hour of blue, when the clock strikes 1, I wake for a snack. Outside stand trees, cobalt leaves, no going back. In the hour of blue, when the clock strikes 2, I venture outside. I feel the wind, I see my friends, but they all run and hide. In the hour of blue, when the clock strikes 3, I hurry back home. I find my warmth has never left, but I am free to roam. And then I'm going to also read my poem, Sunshine. I have another poem, but I have misplaced it somewhere. I have no idea where it is, so it's going to be 2 poems today. Okay, Sunshine. And this is a poem about navigating depression. When I was a teenager, I got diagnosed with clinical depression, and because I was lonely. That's pretty much what it was. I was just very lonely. Hopeless romantic was very lonely. Sunshine. The doubt sets in and makes a home within my heart. I try to push the darkness out, but fail to make a spark. I think of all the colors, all the shapes, and all the stories, and then I'm overcome with sadness, fear, and worry. I understand that everyone has their own weight to bear. On weak shoulders, it's harder, but it's no one's job to care. So complaining is futile, and crying does nothing. We're all trying hard to find or keep our something. But maybe, just maybe, things will turn on sunny times. And maybe, just maybe, there is rhythm to the rhyme. There are hard pills to swallow, muddy bumps along the way. But I know what I know. The compass points the way. Love always finds a way. Maybe it will be okay.
Beautiful, Sierra.
Thank you.
And I'll post how to order The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife on all of my Turney Talks, turneytalks.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next reader is Nicole Garner. The composition of returns is anticipated follow-up to your first collection, Let Want Be Hunger. And you can read more about Nina's journey. I did a sit-down interview with her, and it's on the Hemlock Journal right now. So check that out. It released this week. Let me show everybody on my screen how to get your book here. and what you were talking about. So right now on Crying Heart Press, you can get the bundle for 11.11. Great. And then they have a coupon code for free shipping on $20 orders too. So you can take a look, and maybe if you throw a couple more things in your cart, all super reasonably priced, then you can get that free shipping also. Okay.
Yes, you can. And I noticed that Vaughn is in the house. He's the editor-in-chief for Crying Heart Press, my partner in writing crime. Okay, so since both of them are bundled, I'm going to go ahead and read one of my favorites from my first one and two shorter ones from the new one, including the one that you mentioned that you like best. So, okay. The first one from Let Want Be Hungry is called Untamed, and it's actually a riff on an old Irish form of poetry that I can't pronounce. But I do not ask, I take, I burn. Your name dissolves upon my tongue. The rivers rise, the orchards turn, the birds fall silent, nests unstrung. A storm unfurls beneath my skin, its thunder threaded in my throat. I carve you out, I drag you in, your breath caught fast inside my coat. My teeth know hunger, hands know flame. I bite the wind, it bends, it yields. The gods have watched, they know my name. My spine is iron, my heart unsealed. No cage can hold, no man can tame. I take, I burn, I bite, I breathe. Say love is war, say love is blame. I'll show you love that does not leave. Yeah. All right, and now for the new ones. All right. So this one is called When I Fall in Love, and it's one of my favorites in the collection. It says, when I fall in love, the sound of my mother's voice lodges behind my occipital bone and packs a suitcase filled with reasons for leaving. None of them are mine, but my body rolls its eyes, spine invents a different god, teeth come loose from chewing on a nothing that is almost as sweet as going to bed hungry. My childhood crawls out from beneath the bed to snatch at my ankles with papier-mâché hands made of Playboy articles, boxed wine, and I'm fines. I start sleeping inside of that suitcase so he will not forget to take me with him when he leaves. And then last, and. And there is no hierarchy of sentiment and no concrete moment of closure and no path to synthesis. And still, we persist without coherence. And there is no persistence. And there are no memories, and our memories refuse to plead, and yet they are bloodless. And they have been cut, and the cut implies intimacy through proximity. And there is no proximity, and there is no intimacy between us. And we grant each memory equal weight, and the weight is far too heavy, and it cannot be carried alone, and still we drag around each conjoined memory, and we drag each other around, and we are never enough, and it is never enough, and it never could be enough, and it never has been enough. And so we continue, and so we go on and on and on, and we are never done.
Yes, I told Nina that was my favorite from this new collection, and then she read it. Yay. Thank you. Okay, to introduce me is Katharina Jakeman. Katharina is the EIC and founder of Vinegar Press. She also has a book, Why I Bite, which is available with bottle cap. Thank you, Katharina, for being here.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm so happy to be here. Happy Valentine's Day. And thank you and congratulations to Cierra and Nina as well. Your pieces were beautiful. I really enjoyed listening. So I am super happy to be here to introduce Rachel and to congratulate her on the release of Women Making Soup Together. This collection is a reflection on community and the quiet ways that women show up for each other. And just for those who don't know Rachel, she is a Colorado-based writer, educator, and artist who is widely published, so go check her out. And Women Making Soup Together really reflects her commitment to storytelling that nourishes and uplifts the women in her community. I would personally like to say that we are so proud to celebrate this book and Rachel today. So please join me in congratulating and welcoming Rachel.
Thank you, Katrina. As many of you know, I really hate to read, despite Sandra's best efforts to help me um, improve. Instead, I just cried for an hour. Uh, so I've chosen two that are a little bit easier. A lot of the topics of this book are things that I probably could never read out loud, but I'll start with Mother Earth. Lemon meringue pie, folded and unfolded green. Limes, crisp apples, lima beans, split pea soup. Little white bits of fabric, bunched like swans on shoulder, a bustle in the back, sways of the hip. You look so fabulous, an emerald queen in all of your bucolic wonder. See, Sandra, I didn't speed through it and I didn't cry yet. Improving. And the last poem in the collection is Nourishment for Battle. Thank you for your puccini slices. They have a place here. You can bring the tiny carrots that you shaved so precisely. One dirt-covered potato, a sprig of thyme. Thank you for your handful of pearl onions. We will add those too. For the chopped celery, peeled tomatoes, macerated garlic cloves. We need it all. Everything you have to give. Bring your pens and paper. Bring your instruments of art. Bring your words and pour them into my stock pot. We will take turns stirring. Our muscles have grown so strong, calluses on our fingers. I hum the same songs that I have heard from other women in the kitchen who were also stirring. I recite their poems and their axioms. I add a little more salt and pepper. I do not catch my tears as they fall. These are all of the ingredients in this soup made by women. Thank you. And let me show where to get my book. On Vinegar Press, we have a chapbook print. It's in pre-sale still, so it will be a little bit of time before that's available. We also have a digital version here. You just click add it to cart, it'll add to cart, and then we do have a coupon code today for everybody that's attended. So if you go in like this and just type in soup 50, soup 50, it'll give you 50% off. And we will open up the floor now for any questions. Any questions for Cierra, Nicole, or for me about our upcoming books?
I'd like to ask one. Um, where did you get the inspiration to write this book? Because it's really interesting concept, women making soup together.
So a lot of the writing that I do ends up being about, the need for equity for women. And I think a lot of my writing is really driven by messaging and education and the desire for building this for women. And I started to notice a theme of like hearth and home coming forward and soup in general. And so I started pulling all of those pieces out because I do write a lot about food as well. And they became a collection of like, oh, about 20 pieces that had this kind of soup theme throughout. And I put them and I thought, well, this is really bizarre. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. But then I found another very bizarre woman who saw the mission. I actually sent it to Katrina on a Sunday. She may remember this. And she responded back the same day and said, I saw the title of this book in your name. And I thought, yes.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the question. I have one for you, Sierra. Tell us about the cover.
So probably with the title, people will assume, oh, it's the devil holding something. It's actually it's a human hand who has charred. It's a charred human ham with red nails because the amount of pain and suffering has turned this person into a monster. They're holding a goldfish, which is like a symbol of luck and of goodness, and it's glowing. The goldfish is glowing. I painted it that way using tones of yellow and gold. And the hand, it's in pain, even though it is in agony and anguish, it's releasing the goldfish back into the ocean. And it's like symbolic of, well, just because you've endured things and just because maybe you feel that it's turned you into a monster, you're not a monster. You have the ability to do good things. You can do good things even when you feel like you can't do good things. So that's what it's about.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
I would like to comment on that, what she just noted about on her poem.
Yeah, Shane, go ahead.
Just she said that even though you're going through, I think what something that resonated with me, especially I don't write a lot, really. I just have a couple of pieces that I personally write, but um, being able to stand in the flames from, whether you're you know, uh a mother, a husband, a father, a child, we all go through hard times and, having people that understand, like, especially like parents or something like that, having those people in your life to help you understand and help you through those things. And, we're all, that's showing love to each other. Um, I know I have a son and I know that, I get frustrated with him sometimes and I want to get angry at him. Then I kind of think back to myself, what did I do that was like this? What kind of boneheaded decisions did I make that, um, and just helping, being patient and understanding and just loving everybody else, I think is the key.
Yeah, that's right, Shane. And this is all about community and community building for sure. Any other questions for our authors?
I have a question for you, Rachel.
Okay, make it an easy one.
It's very easy. Are there any events that we should be looking out for you in Colorado, maybe?
Oh, yes, thank you, Katrina. So, what do we have going on next weekend? What are we doing? You tell me.
Okay, so next weekend we will have a virtual reading, much like this one, to celebrate Rachel's release, and some other Vinegar Press authors will be reading. The link will be up on our Instagram at Vinegar Press, and it's going to be at 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on the 21st. And then if you want to talk about the April 21st, or yeah, April 21st.
Yes, okay. And then in April, we're going to be at Tattered Covers, which is the larger bookstore here, and doing a debut in person of women making soup together. So we're still finalizing everything for that, including the time, but I'll probably invite a couple other Colorado folks to come out to that.
I have a question that maybe if all three of you could answer. I'm just curious, and I'm hoping that this sort of helps other people as well. But what makes you choose a certain publication for the home of your piece, or whichever piece that you want to have out into the world? And even if you self-publish, what you choose to self-publish over choosing a publication.
That's a great question. Sierra, I believe you are self-publishing. Is that true?
That's right. I am a control freak and I'm self-publishing. So yeah, and the reason I'm like that is because I think when I was growing up, I realized this world is just so full of terms and conditions, and I didn't wait for anybody to give me permission to paint, and I decided that I'm not going to wait for anybody to give me permission to write either. I'm just going to dig deep into my control freak heart, and I'm going to go and publish whatever I publish, and hopefully it'll. And it matters that I'm just taking that step to do it, and so yeah, my reasons for self-publishing may not be everybody else's, but yeah, I just do it because I guess it's like the independence in me, I suppose. So thank you for your question.
And Nina, I know you've had like just a great experience with Vaughn over at Crying Heart Press. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, actually, I was the fifth book he published. Now I don't even know how many it is. It's so many that we've had. And now we have a magazine. We have a zine coming out. It'll be ready March 17th. And we've already got some ideas for the next open call. So, no, I really have. I actually self-published first. And then I really started following him and we started kind of getting to know each other a little better. And I'm like, you know what? Here, let's see what you can do with my book, you know? And I just absolutely love it. It's very punk rock. It has this old school kind of feel to it, um like something you would pick up at a punk rock flea market or, and he's so open to ideas and so flexible. I have these weird thoughts. I'm like, "Hey, how about this?" And he goes, "Yes, let's do it." Um and I like that Crying Heart Press is different from, in my opinion, other publication or presses that I've seen in that it's approached more like a collective, like a family. It's not in competition with one another. It's a community of poets falling under the house itself, and everybody supports one another, promotes one another, and I just absolutely love that. So that's what I wanted it to be, something accessible. I wanted it to be I wanted control, artistic control over it, and I wanted to help his company grow as well. So, and then be able to help others get published as well. So,
Great. And I had written down Vinegar Press's call, and it was the last day to submit. And I just hadn't done it. And I was like, okay, maybe, but I'm not sure that I need a new project in my life right now, which is still probably true, but here I am. And and I was like, okay, I'm gonna send this and just see because I noticed that Tommy Wyatt Blake had been published there and MK, and I knew them. And I thought, well, their writing is a little unusual as well. So maybe this unusual collection could find a home. And it did with Katharina and Vinegar Press. And I have an interview with Vinegar Press that's out in Boulder Poetry Scene right now. So check that out if you want to know more about Katharina's Press. And they do have open calls for chapbooks right now as well.
okay. We've got a question in the chat.
Jason says, could I ask what the most difficult part of being vulnerable is in this way on the page? Let's start with Sierra. So Sierra, the question is, what's most difficult about being vulnerable on the page?
That's a really good question. And thank you for letting me go first and answering it. Appreciate that. Um, I think the most difficult part of being vulnerable in a universal sense is that you're showing people how fragile you are. And when you do that, when you show people that you're fragile, it's very much easier to break you, and nobody wants to be broken. At the same time, when you think back, because it's always something that makes you vulnerable. You're not born vulnerable. You're born strong. You're born strong and curious and innocent. And as you walk the path of life, you start getting hurt, and with that pain comes sensitivity and vulnerability. And I think the scariest part right now, I guess the scariest part for me right now on this platform is maybe showing people that I really am quite fragile on the inside. On the outside, anybody can look strong on the outside, but I'm quite fragile on the inside. It's very easy for if someone wanted to, if they wanted to hurt me, they could. So that's scary. It's scary to let people see that side of you. Very scary. So yeah, there's fear.
Yeah, yeah. Resonate that hard exterior, but the soft inside. Okay, Nina, what's your answer to this question?
The most difficult part about being vulnerable in this way on the page. I guess it's kind of this is the only place I allow myself to be vulnerable. So, what is the most difficult part? So for me, when I pull things out of a darker place, something that stays hidden or that I don't address, it it takes away its power over me. Uh, and so really, I guess the most difficult part for me is going in that place first to find it. And then staying true to it and telling it how I want to. That would be instead of like exercising control over the way it's presented. What about you, Rachel?
I think what it brings up, it's almost like mini therapy when you start writing and then you realize all these other things, right? That you weren't even planning to talk about or that you didn't even remember. And so I think writing is kind of a sort of therapy for me, very therapeutic, I would say. Great question.
We've got one from Michael in the chat also. Hi, Mike.
Okay, Michael DeBon says, for all or any of the authors, what was your experience in ordering your poems in your book? Oh, good question. What energies guided the arrangement of poems? Absolute chaos. Great. Good question, Michael. Michael's a writer as well. Okay, Sierra, tell us, how did you do the order for your book?
It's very chaotic. You get a cup of coffee and you rock in the corner for a little bit. You think, I don't know. And then you look at the whole body of work. I was looking at my intention. Okay, what do I want to do with this book? What's my intention here? Well, my intention is to release. And because I'm a control freak, I want it to release in an organized manner. So I thought I'm going to break this up into sections because when I looked at my darker poems, I thought, I don't want those poems anywhere near uh, my newer poems because they're so dark. They just have this essence of them that's just so dark. So I thought the best thing to do would be to, make a table of contents and divide these poems up into a story. So I have birth, darkness, enlightenment, and then key to my heart. And I feel that it's best, instead of ending with an ending, I would prefer to, in closing, in conclusion of my book at the end, to have a new beginning. And love is always about new beginnings because I believe in love. I completely believe in love. I watch those Hallmark movies. I cry so damn much. Yeah, I definitely believe in love. So yeah, that's what guided me was just wanting to do something, wanting to make sure that this book was organized in a way that suited me and suited, where I am right now as a person, as a woman, as a human being, as a soul. So that's what guided me. And coffee as well.
Wonderful, Sierra. Yeah, lots of coffee, I know from you. This is a great question for Nina because Nina writes about like political ideas, about work, about, heartbreak, about emotion. You write about so many different topics. So how do you put it into a cohesive collection?
Organizing it in a cohesive collection for me is about having first a voice. Knowing, I could write about anything, but if it's in my voice, in my style that I've identified for myself, then it automatically kind of starts to work together. The way I ordered both of them is the same way that I set up a poem or a story, sometimes even an essay. uh, like, so the first poem is always one that I consider a strong poem, like a threshold piece, but it's not the strongest because you don't want to give it all away up front. Yeah, but you need something that is going to make somebody interested in reading it. It's the same way you pick your title, your cover, because if somebody's in a bookstore or they're looking at it and they pick up that first page, that determines whether or not they're going to get it. That's usually what it is. I know for me. Then I let them kind of stack after that. And Let Want Be Hunger, there's really not a whole lot of breathing room in between emotional poems because the whole thing is one big emotion. But there is breathing room in this one. And it's not that it's a softer poem necessarily, but like it gives it in stages, in waves. And so I feel like that allows the reader to breathe and process in between pieces. I've always thought that in the beginning, you need something, that first line, that cover, that title, that first poem, and then you have to keep building the momentum. You have the middle, which is really the meat of the work, and then you move towards the ending, and then you need to end it on something that can stay with someone after the reading. So kind of like Great Gatsby, where the final lines are part of one of the best lines in the entire book. So like in my new one, the last poem is another one about my dad, and it's just something simple. It's about these
Aw.
cups, you know, these coffee cups. And the last one that he ever drank out of, and just the morning he died, and finding it where he left it, and just that moment of realizing it's been 2 years and it's still sitting in a cupboard on my bookshelf behind glass beside the last shoes he ever wore that I also wrote about, and I'm never going to wash it, realizing I'm never going to wash it. And so that's how I structure Michael. And I know that you've published with Crying Heart Press too, so if you ever want to talk about ordering, go ahead and send me a message.
Thank you.
Sorry, trees, but you just got to print. You got to print and you got to lay it all out. That's the only way, I think, that I've been able to get things in order. And even still, it's a bit chaotic. Great question, Michael. So thank you so much, Cierra G, for The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife, and to Nicole Garner for Let Want Be Hunger and the composition of Returns. Sierra's book has not been released yet, but you'll be able to get that, and we'll send out the information on turneytalks.com or Turney Talks on Instagram. And for Nina's, you can pick up that bundle just for the next 48 hours, and you can throw Michael's book in there as well, and then get that free shipping. There's a free shipping code there for orders over $20. My book is available on Vinegar Press. You can pre-order the print version. Probably it's looking at kind of an April release for that, or you can order the PDF. If you do order it, please use the code SOUP50. It'll give you 50% off, and you do have to download that PDF in, I think, within 24 hours, or it like disappears. So make sure that you download it. Ways to support us, please request that your library carry these books. Nina, does your second one have an ISBN?
It sure does.
Okay, great. And
Yeah.
Sierra's, will yours have an ISBN?
Yes, it should. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll be able to request that for your library. Sometimes they don't honor these requests, but you can usually do that online through your library system. You can go in person and ask them, hey, please carry this book. Usually that means they'll order two, and then somebody else might pick it up off the shelf. And do people need poetry? Yes, they do. So get those on your library shelves. You can also, yeah, Nina.
I'm just saying, because I did this with my local libraries branch. If you want your library to have it, I will ship it to them myself.
Great. Reach out to us. Also, please support our small presses. That's very important as well. Throw a couple other of the authors in your cart if you can, and write reviews. Ask to do an interview with us. Submit these to other literary magazines. That's a great way to keep things going. Chat with us. Connect with us on social media. Send us an email that you liked one of the poems, that you didn't like one of the poems. Lord, if you find a typo, just tell me. I need to know. And so that's how you can best support us, and let us know how we can best support you in your journey as well. Thank you all for being here. I'll have another 3 Women, 3 Books in April 11th, same time, same place, hopefully, as long as nothing happens to Zoom. And for that one, I'll be meeting with Rocio Franco with Arcana Press, and Candace Kelsey, who has her book out with Kelsey Books. That's the plan, at least for now. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll stay on. Thank you so much.